So welcome to the second part of the VPC, and if you don't watch the first part yet, I would recommend you to go and watch the first part where I have discussed 25 important pointers of VPC, which will helps you to understand and will quickly answer VPC related questions. So let's begin with the first question. So the first question is you need to host a set of web servers and the database servers in the AWS VPC. So in this case, the best practice would be, I'm not reading the entire question. I don't even know what would be the options, but the best practice I have told of in the first video lecture itself, that web server always will be in the public subnet and the database server will be always in the private subnet. Okay, so this is the assumption. Now what they're asking, which of the following is the best practice design in multi-tier architecture. Multi-tier means you have multiple tier. One tier for web server, tier means few of the set of servers, right? And one tier should be the database service. Now let's assume you have two EC2 instance, one for web server, one for database servers. Now let's see the options. Use the public subnet for the web tier and the use the public subnet for the web tier and the public subnet for the database layer, which is not correct, because in the public subnet, if you are deploying database server, people can hack your database, and there is a possibility that your database will be hacked and they will destroy everything, so your data will be lost. So don't ever dare to launch your uh, database in uh, public subnet. So that's option is not correct, right? And then the next option is use public subnet for the service, like web tier, and private subnet for the database tier. So this is the right option. I will not going to other uh, options. uh, an IT company has a set of EC2 instance hosted in VPC. Fine, they are hosted in the private subnet. Okay, the private instance now access resource stored in the S3 bucket. So if you can recall, I have told a scenario where your EC2 instance want to access S3. But S3 and DynamoDB accessed over internet. S3 cannot be accessed in privately. So internet, you can't access S3. There is a always internet connectivity is required. Now the traffic should not traverse to the internet. Okay, in addition to which the following help to fulfill the requirement. Okay, so if I leave this part, the traffic should not traverse to the internet, there will have two options. Either you can create a link from your private network, which can access S3 bucket, that one option, or you can provide internet using internet gateway or some NAT. Okay, so that your EC2 instance will have access to internet, then you can access the S3. But the second option, they are telling you can't do it, because they are saying that you can't, your traffic should not traverse to the internet. So we have the first option, then we need to do something in order to access the S3 privately. So the straightforward answer is VPC endpoint. So using VPC endpoint, your EC2 can access to DynamoDB or S3. So if I am talking about VPC endpoint, make sure you read the VPC instance as well. VPC endpoint support S3 and DynamoDB, and VPC instance support other services as well. So please make sure you read the VPC instance as well. So NAT instance, NAT instance is NAT gateway is not good. Internet is not required because we are not providing internet to the EC2. Okay, now going to the next one. So an application consists of the following architecture. Okay, EC2 instance are multiple AZ behind load balancer, elastic load balancer. Then the EC2 instance are launched via auto scaling group. Okay, there is a NAT instance used so that the instance can be downloaded and update the internet. Due to the high bandwidth being consumed by the NAT instance, it has been decided to use the NAT gateway. What what should this be implemented? Use NAT instance along with the NAT gateway. Host NAT instance in the private subnet, so you can't host NAT instance in the private subnet. So NAT always sit in a public subnet so that they can have access to the internet. And then migrate NAT instance to NAT gateway and host NAT gateway in the public subnet. So migrate NAT instance to NAT gateway and host a NAT gateway in the public subnet. So this is the right option, I would say. So because for the first option is partially correct, you can use NAT instance and NAT gateway, but what is the necessary of use NAT instance when you AWS is provided NAT gateway, which is fully managed by AWS, is auto scaling. You need not to consider think about the scaling, what bandwidth you are expecting they will provide you. So better go for NAT gateway instance if it is NAT instance. So question 4, you are planning to hosting your web application and MySQL database application in AWS VPC. The database should only be accessible by the web server. Okay, which of the following would you change to fulfill the requirement? So that basically they are saying they have two-tier architecture again, and their web application will access to their MySQL database, which is in the uh, probably in a private subnet that is not mentioned, but no other uh, you know uh, no other application or no other IP address will allow to access the MySQL. So that is the proper architecture, I would say. And in that case, if you are getting some question, the option is of course security group, because in security group you can put the IP address along with the port number. Okay, so you can open the port and you can provide the IP address. So the option will be security group. uh, Network access control list, NACL, will not be the case, because NACL is for denying IP addresses and it is not helpful. And parameter group, anyway, it's not. Route table is basically you need to add some routes, so this is also not the correct option. So I'll going to question 5. Your IT security department has mandate that all traffic flowing in and out to EC2 instance needs to be monitored, and which of the below service can help to achieve this? So in and out service, so you need to go for trusted advertising, as it will not be the case. VPC flow log is the answer, because in the VPC flow log you can have the all trace of input and output IP address that is inside a VPC EC2 instance. So you'll get everything in VPC flow logs, right? So the number 6 and probably last of this list is, you are working as an architect in your organization. You need to peer VPC A as a requester of VPC B as accepted, and both VPC is communicated with each other. Okay, now you want the resources in the both VPCs to reach out the internet, but anyone on the internet should not be able to reach the resources within both VPCs. Which of the below will achieve the desired outcome? So basically they are saying that you want to peer VPC request, like peering is basically accessing one VPC instance. Like if you have one VPC, inside you have one EC2 instance, you just wanted to access some other VPC's EC2 instance, and they required internet in both VPC A and VPC B. So what you need to do basically, in order to get the VPC, you need to have NAT gateway for the both configured for the both the VPCs, right? Because I have already told you in the first lecture that one VPC to one NAT gateway or one IG. This is the main concept in VPC. So let's quickly scan. So create a NAT gateway in VPC A and route to VPC B outbound to VPC A NAT gateway. So this is not the correct option. Then create an internet gateway in VPC A and route table VPC B outbound to VPC A internet gateway. This is also not the correct option. Create a NAT gateway in both VPCs. Configure route to each VPC's own NAT gateway. So this is the correct option, because in order to access internet in both the VPCs, what you need to do, you need to configure NAT gateway in the both the VPCs, and you need to update the route table in each VPC's route table, right? You need to add that 000, or you need to add the NAT gateways instance in that particular route table. So this is the option. So that's all about VPCs. I will trying to post few more questions in VPCs so that you answer all of the question in the exam. Thank you for listening, and I will be providing this like a link down the below, so you can download this material, and considering subscribing my channel, I'll posting more videos on AWS. Thanks.